Hello everyone, my name is Putri Nur Emilia binti Karafata with the matrix number 073411. Many people know that Cold War happened after the World War I and the World War II. So, what is exactly Cold War? The Cold War was a period of geopolitical tension between the United States and the Soviet Union and their respective allies, the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc. The term Cold War is used because there was no large-scale fighting directly between the two superpowers, instead engaged in a war of threats, but they each supported opposing sides in major regional conflict known as a proxy war. The conflict was based on the ideological and geopolitical struggle for global influence by these two superpowers following their temporary alliance and victory against Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan in 1945. The Western Bloc was led by the United States as well as a number of other First World nations that were generally liberal democratic but tied to a network of often third world authoritarian states, most of which were the European powers' former colony. On the other side, the Eastern Bloc was led by the Soviet Union and its Communist Party, which had influence across the Second World and was also tied to a network of authoritarian states. So, what is the event that triggered the Cold War? First is the Yalta Conference. In February 1945, where the leaders of the Allied powers, including the Soviet Union, the United States and Great Britain, met to discuss the post-World War II reorganization of Europe. The conference highlighted the difference between the Soviet Union and the Western power over the future of Eastern Europe, with the Soviet Union seeking to establish communist government in the region. The aim of the conference was to shape a post-war peace that represents not only a collective security order, but also a plan to give self-determination to the liberated peoples of Europe. Intended mainly to discuss the re-establishment of the nations of war-torn Europe within a few years, with the Cold War dividing the continent, the conference became a subject of intense controversy. There are few key points of the meeting. First, the agreement to the priority of the unconditional surrender of Nazi Germany. After the war, Germany and Berlin would be split into 4 occupied zones. Second, Stalin agreed that France would have a 4th occupation zone in Germany if it was formed from the American and the British zone. Third, Germany would undergo demilitarization and denazification. At the Yalta Conference, the Allies decided to provide safeguards against a potential military revival of Germany, to eradicate German militarism and the Nazi general staff, to bring about the denazification of Germany, to punish the war criminals, and to disarm and demilitarize Germany. The other event that triggered the Cold War was the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Cuban Missile Crisis marked the climax of an acutely antagonistic period in US-Soviet relations. The crisis also marked the closest point that the world had ever come to the global nuclear war. This crisis was resolved when the Soviet Union agreed to remove the missiles in exchange for US promise not to invade Cuba and to remove US missiles from Turkey. The event that ended the Cold War was the Soviet Union in 1991. The dissolution of the Soviet Union and the withdrawal of the Soviet troops from Eastern Europe reduced tensions and brought an end to the Cold War. The second was the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. The Berlin Wall was a physical barrier between East and West Germany, and its fall marked the beginning of the end of the Cold War as it signaled an increased openness and cooperation between the US and the USSR. As the 1990s began, the Cold War was finally over and the United States was the sole remaining superpower. But hopes for a safer, more peaceful world would be dashed as regional conflicts and global problems challenged the American foreign policy establishment to chart a new course for the United States. And that's all from me. Thank you for watching.